One of the things that I really do hate the most are people who lie. And there are some propagandists in China who do constantly lie. They would say that there are no homeless people in China. There is no poverty in China. A VPN, a virtual private network, is legal in China, where there is so much evidence from Chinese media and Western media, people living in China. You go and speak to real Chinese people, and they would say, there is, where some Westerners who live in China who feels like they work for the state, they work for the government. I said feels like, we can't prove this. That they would do this, and they do it in such a way that they sound very convincing. They would have like the uncle approach, very soft, and they would call people in America stupid. They would criticize the Trump administration, calling them stupid, but they would never say anything bad. Well, they can't say anything bad about Xi Jinping, the dictator, the ruler of China, like a mini emperor. And it does really annoy me. So quite recently, I was like just browsing through YouTube, and I did find a guy who constantly does this. I'm not going to mention his name, but he would say that people in China do not go hungry. This is his latest one, where anyone can go into any restaurant in China, a homeless person, which doesn't exist obviously in China, and say they can go into a restaurant and say, can I have a number 2 meal, which means the meal is free of charge, and they would give this to anyone. A number 2 meal in China means it's affordable, so it's a lot cheaper than the average number 1 meal, so to speak, and it would be up to the restaurant owner whether they would give the meal to this homeless person because of sympathy, because they feel sorry for the guy and they need to be fed. So it's not would I say, a common practice, but it does actually happen. So this guy would say any restaurant. So you go to a 5-star restaurant in the Hilton Hotel in Shanghai, as an example, or the Hyatt or the Marriott, and say, can I have the second-hand meal in a 5-star hotel? You're not even going to get through the front door, basically. So it sort of does upset me that they do these porky pies, these sweet little lies, and they sound so convincing. And they do have many followers. Now, maybe these followers are bots. They are people who live in China and they are supporting the fake propaganda which comes out of China saying it's a utopia, it's a wonderful place to live, it's the best country in the world. Every country in the world has problems. America, England, China, Argentina, Brazil, they all have problems. But these guys saying there is no problem and the government is the best government in the world. Come on, which government in the world is the best? What has the government actually done for you personally? For me, the UK government, none, zero. I left England in 1989 because there was no future for me in the United Kingdom. So I do get a bit wound up by these people. This is like a rant and a rave. There's just me speaking on this video. There aren't going to be any pictures or any evidence of this, but you can do it for yourself. You can go to Google, you can go to Baidu, you can type in poverty in China, and you will find many different feeds related to it, and it would show you the evidence. If you go to Twitter, you can go and see, type in poverty in China, and you can see some people who do live in the countryside and they earn maybe less than $1 per day for the family, which may be enough for a little bit of meat and some steamed rice, basically. So then the homeless. They would say the people who do live on the streets are migrant workers and they choose to live under a bridge. Huh? And he would say, or they would say, legally there's no homeless people in China because in the area where they live, let's say their parents, that would be their registered address. But they want to go and work in Shanghai, so they would go there, for example, can't find any work, got no money, they do come from a poor family. Oh, there's no poor people in China, sorry. They do come from a family that does have a home, which may be very poor indeed, but they wouldn't be homeless legally because that's where they are registered, not where they choose or where they want to be. So do be aware of some of these fakers in China who would say that the government is the best in the world. There's no homeless people, there's no poverty. And they sound so convincing because they do it in a very soft approach. And I don't know how they can live with themselves unless they truly, truly believe that there is no poverty, there is no homeless people. Using a VPN is legal. Go ahead. Yeah? So it's just frustrating. So this is a warning for people. Don't always believe what you hear about China on the internet, especially on YouTube, and especially from people who live in China for a long time. They also talked about on one show about the China credit score system. They're saying, I've never heard of it and it doesn't exist, where there are videos of people in China who show the credit score system. There was one in particular about this French journalist who lives in Beijing, and his wife had a credit score system of 752. She wanted to get up to 800. Anything less than 300 becomes a problem. So she's doing quite well. That means she can go into a hotel, doesn't need to pay a deposit, because she has a high credit score. Things like this. And when they say there is no such thing like this, where the evidence is actually there on social media by Chinese people, makes him look like, well, if he can call American people stupid, I will call him an idiot. He looks intelligent. They look intelligent. They look like they know what they're talking about. Maybe they are convinced this does actually really exist. I give up sometimes. So it's just a rant and a rave for today. Go and search it for yourself. Don't just go to Western media, go to Chinese media, go on if you can, go on Red Note and ask a question. And the Chinese person is honest. He will say, yes, there is poverty. Yes, there is homeless people. Yes, it's illegal to use a VPN, for example. And who are you going to believe? A real person who's been in China, who is Chinese, who's lived there all your life, or a foreigner who has come to China and just promotes the CCP? It's sort of weird. It's just a point of view. I'm just expressing frustration and a warning to be aware of the propaganda. Look at both sides of the story. Don't just look at one side. Thank you very much. I will wish you a happy day. It's November the 1st today, 2025. How was your Halloween? I hope it was good and dandy. All right. Bye for now. I'm out of here.